basics are easy to understand. There should be a complete separation of government from any aspect of education in any form whatsoever. The most basic reason for this is, of course, that any interference by the government in education is a violation of the First Amendment. The government, whether state, local, or federal, has zero right or moral compass for telling people what they should or should not teach in a particular educational setting, what parents should or should not have their kids learn, nor should the government have any say in how such ideas are promulgated. It's very dangerous for the government to interfere in this realm of intellectual pursuit because the government is famous for simply pushing its own ideas to indoctrinate young children and older children into accepting the fact that the government is all benevolent and all giving and is the source of all that is right and good. If people have educational freedom, they can decide for themselves how they're going to raise their children. They're going to decide for themselves how they will teach their children. Imagine if education was treated the same way as grocery stores. You can go any grocery store you want, doesn't matter what's in your same area of town or not. You can go pick one out, change one week to the next, or as you desire, and you pay for it. Education, however, is dominated by the state, and it tells you where you can attend. People have to plan their lives around the government's whims. If they want to go to a better school, they have to move to that particular district. Even worse is the notion that government should rob one set of citizens to help pay other parents for the cost of educating their children. I don't want to pay the entertainment costs or the food costs or the clothing costs or anything else for somebody else's children. If parents were forced to pay for the entire cost of making certain that their children learn what it is that they should learn, perhaps they would be more circumspect in perhaps how many children they have or how they treat their children or anything like this. By delegating all this to the government, they're essentially abrogating their rights as parents for making these decisions. They think that the experts at the government level are the ones that they should rely on. But they should rely on their own judgment and the judgment of their friends and local experts that they have decided to trust. Some people just don't get the connection between government and education. They forget that school boards are elected, i.e. they're part of the government. The local people take taxes on your income taxes or surtaxes. The state, one of the biggest budgets for the state is the amount that they spend on education. One of the largest amounts that the federal government spends is on education. They determine what tests you're going to use, how you're going to teach it, all these things. Other people complain, well, if you're against government education, you're against education. That's bull crap, sorry. That's the furthest thing from mine. If you're really in favor of real education, teaching people how to think for themselves rather than just be indoctrinated by the government, you should oppose all government intervention in education on any level for any reason. Don't prop up so-called private schools that rely on government-funded tuition to make themselves profitable. They're simply stealing at a more roundabout route. Let people decide for themselves how they'll educate themselves. Quit stealing from your neighbors to pay for your children's education. But don't get me started.